50. I'm trying something a little different today. I'm using a headset. One of our guests, we had a little bit of an echo, and it was because his phone and my phone, I don't know, basically the headset solved the problem. So I'm just going to stay on the headset all day long and see if that helps throughout the broadcast. So today's topic, the Relentless Food for Thought topic is, I'm going to fix this. Oh, geez, food for thought. I love it when you get ready and then you miss something. All day long, that's been happening to me. This is what relentless looks like. Let me fix this. Okay. So the relentless food for thought topic for today is the main goal of servant leadership is to lead. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about servant leadership today as, as we go into the holidays. So the reason why I chose the topic is really the guests kind of that I talk to each week kind of dictate to me what the topic's going to be. Like when I look at what the biggest thing is that I want to talk about with both of them, it's for these two particular people, it's servant leadership. So just this past week, actually, I think it was 2 nights ago or last night, I can't remember when. I think it was last night, I talked about servant leadership on my Facebook Live profile on my personal page. And I've been trying to do a live every day and just kind of seeing how that goes on my personal page. So the topic was the 5 reasons why you should get out of your own way and gift this holiday season. And, I think the first thing I want to say is, what is a servant leader? So a servant leader is somebody who serves, and in that way they lead. So some common servant leaders that you might know of, everybody knows of these people: Martin Luther King, Nelson Mandela, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Albert Schweitzer. So as I was looking at this list, I thought, what? I really know a lot about the first 4. I mean, we all know Martin Luther King and what he did. We all know Nelson Mandela and what he, went through to become the president, and Gandhi and what he did and how he changed the world, and Mother Teresa, of course, right? But Albert Schweitzer, I didn't really know. I mean, I some of his quotes are my favorite quotes ever, okay? And so I put a quote on my personal page, and I'm going to read it to you. And it says, "Sometimes our light goes out, but it's blown into a flame by another human being. Each of us owes the deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this light." I just love that quote. And that's what a servant leader does. A servant leader turns people's lights back on and gets them to step it up a notch, right? Because just by their example, you watch a servant leader and it makes you want to do better. It makes you want to lead in your own life better. So that's, to me, that quote is the epitome of servant leadership. There's another quote that I stopped looking because that one just stopped me in my tracks. With another one where it says, what does it take to be a servant leader? He says it takes the skin of a rhino and the heart of an angel. And I found that to be true. I think that people will try to beat you down sometimes, when you're a servant leader. They think you have an agenda. I can't tell you how many times over the course of my life people have thought that I was up to something screwy when I was just like trying to serve. And you get knocked down a lot, It's like the king of the mountain. If people see you as being having some type of power or leadership skills, they naturally want to knock you off the top of the hill, right? The king of the mountain is, the whole game is to knock that person who's on top of the hill off, and it's just kind of a natural instinct. So I think when you're a servant leader, sometimes you get beat up on a little bit, and you got to kind of, look at this, Martin Luther King. Enough said, right? Albert Schweitzer was a polymath, and I kind of chuckled because I coined the term polypreneur a couple years ago, and other people are using it. There wasn't that many people using it at the time, but a polypreneur and a polymath is somebody that has a high skill set in lots of areas. And that's basically how I came to do Relentless Talk Radio. I wanted to talk about art and fashion because I'm an artist and I'm a fashion designer. I wanted to talk about philanthropy because I'm a philanthropist. I wanted to talk about entrepreneurism because I'm an entrepreneur. And I wanted to talk about health and fitness because I have 36 years of experience as a professional in the industry, but also I've been training and working out my whole life, grew up in a bicycle shop. So to me, Relentless Talk Radio is all about being a professional polymath, okay? It's about being a Renaissance person. And that's what Albert Schweitzer was. He was a theologian, an organist, a writer, a humanitarian, a philosopher, and a physician. This guy was busy, right? And really, all of these people, what they did was they gave and they gave and they gave and they gave. And by doing that, they changed the world. And some of these folks didn't make a shit ton of money. Okay, this is not about, and in fact, all of them didn't. Okay, I don't know if Gandhi had any money somewhere from being an attorney, but I don't think so. I think he gave it all up to be the example, right? So the other thing I talked about on my personal page this week was, I'm taking a look at the time, was why, if you had to have a selfish reason for giving and being a servant leader, why would you do it? So there's 5 reasons why I discovered that you might selfishly want to be a servant leader. One is it just makes you feel good. I mean, whenever I shout somebody out on Facebook, or I do a painting and then I gift it, or I give 10% of everything that I sell as far as art's concerned, especially, away to charity, I always feel really super good when I write the check out. I really do. I feel super good about it. I feel good about the time. Time is money, and that's absolutely true. When you gift somebody your time, you're actually giving them time that you could be spending earning a living, and you're gifting it. And so that actually, there is a value to time. And I give like a lot of time away. Relentless Talk Radio has a philanthropy section because I want to be able to have a platform to talk with people about gifting and giving, right? So the second one is it's good for your health. When you actually serve and you're a giver and you show up with that heart, your blood pressure goes down, your stress level decreases, and as a result, the diseases and the health stuff that happens when you're high stress reduces, because you are reducing your stress because you are a servant leader. It also promotes cooperation and social connection. And for a business owner, that's just dang smart. Okay, I had a salon back east, and my tagline was hair care with a mission. And we did things in the community. We did things with the rec center and the Brunel Library, and we were always having events in the salon for nothing, because it gave us the opportunity to connect with our community. That's good for your employees. It's good for the community. It's good for you personally. It's good on every level. There's really no way that's bad about that. And actually, they found that mental interaction actually helps with mental health. So for older people to get out of the house and do things, we used to have senior days where we would encourage the older folks to come over and give them a discount. So they would actually get out of their house, get into a chair, get some physical touch, and get some interaction with people. But, it's getting closer to other people isn't just about you getting closer to them. It's about them getting closer to you. So the connection is super smart from a mental health perspective, but also from a business perspective. Relationship marketing is the best way to earn a living, in my opinion. I mean, it's not even like working when you're relationship marketing. So the next thing is when you're giving, it evokes gratitude. So it's really hard to be feeling sorry for yourself when you're grateful. So when you give to someone who has less than you, or maybe you have less than them, there's some power in saying, you know what, I don't have a lot, but I'm going to give. This past week, I was sitting next to a lady at the nail salon who appeared to maybe have a little less than me. And so I anonymously gifted her manicure. Now, I guess it's not anonymous because I'm telling you on my radio show about it. But the reason why I'm telling you is because I felt really good. Her response was so cool. And she was like, thank you for saying Merry Christmas. But she didn't know that I had given the manicure yet. So when you actually give to somebody, it made me enjoy my manicure so much more, that I could afford the manicure myself, and I had the $13 in my pocket, or maybe that was her last $13, So I think that gratitude, when you give, you're much more grateful for the manicure, for the toys, for the house, for the car, for the things that you're able to afford when you give to other people. And then finally, giving is contagious. So that's really kind of the thing that I'm hoping people will get the most out of Relentless Talk Radio, is that by watching other leaders marry their passion with entrepreneurship and with the arts and with physical fitness and with philanthropy, that you'll be inspired to do the same in your business and in your life. So I chose servant leadership early in my life. And I thought that, if I was a servant leader, that meant that I had to be poor initially. And over time, when I watched servant leaders like Tony Robbins, for example, obviously not a poor man, but let me tell you, that guy has given billions away. He actually started by gifting turkeys to folks that didn't have turkeys for dinner when he had nothing. So being a servant leader doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be Gandhi or Mother Teresa where you're poverty stricken, and that or it could, because really, as I said earlier this week on my personal page, there's lots of ways to be successful. One of them is earning a decent living. But the most important one, I think, in my opinion, is what you give with your heart. And so if you are a leader and you're not putting your heart into it, I really encourage you to put your heart into your leadership this year. And if you are considering stepping into a leadership role, I encourage you to start right from the beginning with leading with your heart. So I'm going to talk with Stacey Davis today. She's a personal trainer, a Kundalini yoga teacher. She's a good friend of mine, and she's definitely a servant leader. And we're going to be talking with Ray Boucher, the owner of the shop. He and Betty, his wife, have done the Santa Toy Run for over 10 years now. It's an event that I do every year, no matter what. Even if it's raining, I make sure I show up with a toy. Even if it's cold and nasty and I have a cold, I show up with a toy. And, this is a really, really wonderful event that's happening this Saturday at the shop. If you Google, or you can Google SantaToyRun.com, or you can go to Santa Toy Run here on Facebook, and there's an event, Santa Toy Run 2019. The kickstand's up at 9 o'clock from the shop. So I'm going to sign off of here, and I'm going to go get Stacey, and we're going to have a really awesome show today. So this is episode number 50 of Relentless Talk Radio, and hang tight. I'll be right back with Stacey.